Hello, Scott Baker for Truth and Liberty here with a new video. This is a follow-up to my last video, and this one's titled, Why the Republican Party of Texas is Broke. We now have some more information. So the summary is, if you know from last week, the Republican Party of Texas has at least $820,000 in debt, probably a lot more based on the information we have now. Incoming Chairman Randall has released an update indicating serious financial issues. She says one of the largest is the outstanding legal fees associated with the closed primary lawsuit. What is the closed primary lawsuit, and why does it matter? So if you recall, this slide from last week shows the debt, $819,005 in debt just from the convention alone. Now we have a new email from the chairman that says the RPT is, quote, not in a healthy financial position. And we have significant unpaid obligations. One of the largest is the outstanding legal fees associated with the closed primary lawsuit. Here's the email from RPT chair indicating exactly what I just said. The outstanding legal fees associated with the closed primary lawsuit. So what is the closed primary lawsuit? If you've watched some of my other videos, you'd be aware of what's going on here. But as a brief recap, in September of 2025, the RPT filed a federal lawsuit against the Secretary of State and the state of Texas. The goal was to force the Texas Secretary of State to close the Texas primary elections. There are multiple problems with this, and I detailed this pretty extensively in my other video, but I'm going to run through it again here. The Texas primary elections are already closed. Even the RPT says so. Here is a document issued by the RPT last year that says by the late 20th century, Texas had settled into a closed primary system, though it has never been fully closed in the strictest sense. So, even the RPT acknowledges that the primaries are at least partially closed. We'll go into more of that in a minute. The Texas Election Code, or the TEC, is the law governing the primary elections. The RPT lawsuit is asking the Secretary of State to violate the TEC. Anybody else see a problem with that? I've been talking about it for a while now. So what does the TEC actually say? Section 162.002, eligibility to affiliate. Texas has voter registration and party affiliation. So you don't register with a party, but you affiliate with a party, which is very similar. The requirements to be eligible to affiliate with a political party, a person must be 1, a registered voter, or 2, eligible to vote a limited ballot at the time of affiliating. Right? So there's very little requirements actually in place in order to affiliate with a party and vote in the primary. Section 162.003, affiliation by voting in primary. A person becomes affiliated with a political party when the person, 1, is accepted to vote in the party's primary election, which, as we just said, you must be a registered voter or eligible to vote on a limited ballot at the time of affiliating, or 2, returns an early voting or limited primary ballot voted by mail. So that's it. All you have to do is vote in the primary, or take an oath or a pledge that you affiliate yourself with the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or any other party. Again, what did the Republican Party say about this in their closed primary fact sheet? Under current Texas election law, voters do not register with a political party when they register to vote, unlike in states with what they call truly closed primaries. Instead, Texas operates a hybrid system, often described as a semi-closed or closed on election day primary. During the primary election, voters choose which party's primary they wish to participate in by requesting that party's ballot at the polling place. Once they make this choice, they are locked into that party's primary process for the remainder of the election cycle, including any runoff elections. This prevents voters from switching parties between the primary and runoff, distinguishing Texas from fully open primary states where voters can freely choose candidates across parties. As I said, this is from the RPT's own document. This is acknowledging the system that exists right now. and it's based on current election law. What else does the TEC say? 161.03, the methods of making nominations. A political party may make nominations for public office only by the methods provided by this code. Period. That means this is the only way you can do it, is the methods provided in the Texas Election Code. That's what the law says. Section 172.001, nominating by primary election is required, except as otherwise provided by this code. A political party's nominees in the general election for offices of state and county government and the United States Congress must be nominated by primary election, held as provided by this code, if the party's nominee for governor in the most recent gubernatorial general election received 20% or more of the total number of votes received by all candidates for governor in the election. In other words, if you're one of the major parties in the state of Texas, the Republican Party actually has candidates and officials occupying every statewide office and a lot of the local and county offices. So we certainly received more than 20% of votes for the governor in the last election, which means we must nominate by primary election, and we must do so according to the Texas Election Code. It's that simple. This is what the law says. And the RPT has been suing at great expense the Secretary of State and the state of Texas and federal court, trying to get them to ignore the law and do it how they want to. Now, this is not a case for or against opening or closing the primaries. But if you want to close the primaries, as the RPT has said they would like to do, as a lot of the Republican voters have said they'd like to do, you must do it by amending the law. The only way to do that is through the state legislature. That is the correct path to changing the law. Even Governor Abbott understands this, because at the convention, he backed the closed primary issue. What he said in this article from Texas Scorecard, in an interview with Texas Scorecard following the speech that's at the GOP convention this year, Abbott indicated he would prefer a legislative approach, saying legislators can and should be more responsive to Republicans than a judge may be. That's a very nice way of saying this lawsuit is going nowhere. So we've spent a lot of money on this, so much so that we have significant legal debts that still are unpaid in order to pursue this lawsuit as a party. When you look at it from the other side, as taxpayers, we've also spent a lot of money because the Secretary of State has had to go and defend this in federal court. So we're paying both sides of this, millions of dollars in legal fees for a lawsuit that makes no sense. And I've been trying to point this out for a long time. It's just ridiculous. We cannot ask the Secretary of State to break the law. The state legislature has to take up this issue. They have to amend the Texas Election Code in order for this to happen and move forward. That was always going to be the case. And the lawsuit was a colossal waste of resources, money, and effort. And it's really unfortunate that now we're in massive debt because of it. So that's the summary. The Republican Party of Texas has significant debt. We're still waiting to find out the rest of the finances. November elections are just a few months away and coming fast. Will Republicans find a way to unite and win? What can you do? You can help. Help turn out the vote in November. Get active, get involved. Make sure your family, friends, and neighbors know how important this election is. Every vote really does count. Donate money and time to the candidates that you support. It really does help. You can also designate funds and donations to the party if you wish to help with the Candidate Resource Committee or other particular parts, but you don't want to help fund this ridiculous lawsuit. I think that the people who backed this lawsuit should be the ones who pay for it. And maybe next time we can think twice before going down this path. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Post your comments below. I always want to hear feedback from my audience. God bless you. God bless the state of Texas, and God bless the United States of America. I'm Scott Baker for Truth and Liberty.